Today we're going to be cleaning my Glock 19 Gen 5, and we're going to be using Ballistol, and that's coming up next year on Jesse B Outdoors. Welcome back, everybody, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell. Leave a comment down below if you like videos like this. First off, I'd like to thank Ballistol for sending this out to the channel to try out. This is going to be the first time I'm using Ballistol to clean a gun. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take it over to the table, show you guys how to field strip it, and then we're going to clean it with the Ballistol, put it back together, and then I'll tell you my final thoughts at the end. So let's go ahead and get started. Alright, the first thing I'm going to do is, we can already see the gun is clear here. I got the slide locked back. No magazine in there, and there is no ammo to be found. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put everything off to the side here real quick, and I'm going to lay some blue towels down on my mat to soak up any overspray. Now, I like using the blue towels here, but if you have a dog, you got to watch out because your dog likes chewing on these. So what I'm going to do is I'm still going to use these because we need to use them up. Whether the dog chewed them up or not, that happens. If you own a dog, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So I'm going to lay a couple of these down on the mat here real quick. That way I don't have to worry about stuff soaking in and getting all over everything from puddles. And there we go on that. So what we're going to do is since we know this is clear, I'm going to show you guys how to field strip this. First thing we're going to do is we're going to act like it has never been touched. So we're going to pull the slide back, check that chamber once again. Make sure there is nothing in there because we have to pull the trigger on the Glock to be able to field strip it. So we'll pull that trigger. I always reach around, pull back a little bit. There's a tab like this on each side of the gun. You grab those tabs and pull down on them, and that slides right off. Then you got your recoil spring and guide rod assembly. I always try to hold my hand or thumb above it, push forward and lift up to lift that out of there. I'm going to set that off to the side. Now to get the barrel out, what I normally do is I put my finger right here on the hood of it, and I just lift up and pull the barrel out, and then the slides apart, and there's your frame, and that's everything you need to field strip it. Now the first thing I like doing is I like spraying whatever cleaner I'm going to use down the barrel and let that soak. So we're going to spray this in here. I could tell you right off the bat, the first thing I don't like about Ballistol is this stuff smells horrible. I know it's all natural and cleaners and everything, but man, it smells horrible. I'm going to spray down the barrel there, and we're going to let that sit because that's what's got the most carbon in it. So I like to have that sitting there. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to spray down the rails here and just let that run down there. And when you can see, that just runs right down. Now the one thing you don't want to do is spray in here. You don't want to get this channel filled with crud here because that's where your striker assembly is. But I am just going to give that a little shot there, that a little shot, let it run down, and then I'm going to go to this rail here, and I'm going to give that a little shot, let that all run down, and then another place that gets dirty is a slide is right here. I'm just giving that all a little shot, let that all run down there, let that sit for a little bit. Now to the frame, I'm going to do the same thing right where these rails are. Give that a little shot, right here where the locking block is. And down in here, I'm going to get this all cleaned up. Hit the rails there. These rails in the back, you can see how much crud there is in there. So I'm just going to hit this a little bit. You can see all the crud in there on this side. This is definitely my carry gun. I carry this more than any other gun. I do have a SIG P365 XL, but for some reason I don't shoot that as good. So I carry this a lot more. So let's let that sit and break up the carbon, and then we'll come back. Alright, now that we let that sit for a while, I want to first come to the slide here, and you can see how gunked up that is in there in the slide. So I'm just going to take a blue towel here. I'm going to get the main chunk of it wiped down with this, and then I'm going to come back through with Q-tips and clean the main part out, but you can see how filthy this gun was. Like I said, I've shot it quite a few times. While I was doing videos with this, I was carrying my SIG. So I do go back and forth depending on what I'm doing videos with. But right there, you can see that is gunk. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and grab the Q-tips and clean the rest of this out. I'll be right back. Now I got my Q-tip here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean up in these channels right here that you can see. There's still gunk in there. I like wiping those down because these will get down in there. You can see how much junk is in there. So we'll get those channels cleaned out. Being very careful down in the striker channel right there. Like I said, you do not want to get garbage down in there. And then I'm going to use it on the rails. And I'll do this quite a few times here. I'm just showing you guys this. I don't like showing you everything on the cleaning videos because to me it's boring to sit there and watch somebody scrub. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get down in here a little bit more. And then the next thing I do, sorry, I got my dog in here and he started barking. Now the next thing I like to do is we got the breech face right here. And I don't spray nothing on that. What I do is I hold it like this and I take my brush and I scrub it in there. And the reason why I don't spray nothing in there is I don't want nothing getting in that striker channel, and I want all the debris to fall down so it don't get in there. And then also you've got your extractor in there. You want to clean up underneath that extractor because carbon builds up in there. So I'm going to brush this all out, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a piece of that blue towel after I do this. And I'm just going to show you guys. I'm going to wipe it real quick, and you can see how much gunk gets into there too. That was a clean piece of towel. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to finish wiping this down with the blue towel, and then I'll be back to show you the next part. Now that the slide's clean, I'm just going to let that sit off to the side here. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to work on the frame, and the frame is the same way. I'm just going to take my blue towel and do a rough wipe down with it. This will get all the excess oil and cleaner off, which Ballistol is kind of like a CLP, so it's an all-in-one. But I want to get this all wiped down here, get all the big stuff off, and then once again what I'm going to do is I'm going to come into the areas where there's a lot of dirt with this Q-tip, get wiping in there. You guys can see down in here where the magazine comes up, that's a real cruddy spot on these, so you want to make sure those are all cleaned up. So I'm going to do the rest of this off camera, but then the next thing I want to do is I want to clean the rails. And what I do with the rails is I got one of these plastic picks, and I'm just going to try to find a clean spot on the towel here so I can show you guys. And then I rub this pick in the rails here and clean the rails up. Some people have used credit cards and wrapped a towel around it, but you can see there this wasn't that bad after the wipe down. But we're going to do that on all the rails here. And basically that's all I do to the frame. So no sense of showing you me scrubbing. I'll get this all finished up and then I'll be back and show you guys what I do with the barrel. Now that I got the frame all done, I just set that off to the side. Now the next thing I want to do is I'm just going to go to the recoil spring and guide rod assembly here. And I don't put nothing on that. I always just wipe it down. To me, if you put oil or anything on this, it's a place for debris to gather up and cause a malfunction. So all I do with these is I just wipe them down. You can see they get a little bit dirty in there, but I'd rather have that little bit of dirt come off on my blue towel than get more debris up in there and cause a major malfunction. So this is what I do with the spring, and that's it. So now the next thing I do is set that off to the side. I'm going to grab my barrel here, and you can see we soaked that barrel. So what I'm going to do is wipe the outside of it down, if I can talk here. Get that all wiped down. Usually I wipe off the ramp while I'm at it. And the hood right there. You can see how gunked up that was. Get this all nice and dry so we can handle it on the outside. And then the next thing I do, I'm going to put that rag off to the side here. Move our Ballistol over there. Then I just take my brush, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick this in there. Now this is where some people do stuff different. They say do it 20 times, 10 times, 50 times. I say do it however many times you need to that makes you happy, and I'll be back when I'm done with it. Now I got a bore light here I like using. I just scrubbed it a few times, and what I do is if my light will stay lit there we go. Stick it down in there and look in there. Of course, you guys are going to see the glare, but I'm going to look down in there and see how it is. Of course, we haven't ran no patches or anything through, but I'm just looking down there and I'm looking for lead deposits or anything that I need to scrub real good. So I'll be right back and I'll show you the next step. Alright, now the next thing I'm going to do is I got the jag on my rod here, and we are going to pop a patch on here, and this will be the first patch ran through it. These usually come out pretty black here. Oop, hit the camera, but you can see how gunked up that was. So this is another one you're just going to run patches through until it gets clean. To me, I'm not going to sit there and show you guys every single one because that would be boring, so I'll be back when I'm done with it. Alright, what we got here is probably going to be the last patch I'm going to run through it. We got it pretty cleaned up here, and I just want to run one more through it so you guys can see it. Pop that out. You can see there is a little bit on here. I am not a picky one where if it's got to be completely clean. To me, that is good enough there. So what we're going to do is next, I'm going to show you all the places where I put oil, and then we'll put it back together. Now there's one spot I'm not going to use the Ballistol, and that's because Glock recommends you to put a drop of oil right down here on the crucifix, where that crucifix meets up. Right down here, they want you to put a spot of oil there, so I'm just going to put one drop of oil here. I like using this Lucas Extreme Duty gun oil. The main reason why I like using this is I used to work at an auto parts store and they sold this, and I got a heck of a discount on it, and I bought a bunch of it, so that's why we're using that. Well, we're just going to put that drop right down in there, and that is going to be the only place I'm going to use that. So I'm just going to run the trigger a couple times here to get that spread through right there. And then that's going to be the only place I put oil on the frame. Everything else I do with the slide. But before we do the slide, what I like doing is I like having lubrication on my barrel. So I'm going to take a little bit of this Ballistol, just put a little spot right there, and I'm going to rub it all up and down the barrel. I like having my barrel coated with oil, and then right up here where the hood locks up into the slide, I like having some in there. And then I like having just a little bit in this lockup area. I'm just giving it a little splash right there, not a lot. And I'm just going to wipe this whole barrel down. I could definitely tell you, like I said, the biggest thing I do not like about Ballistol right now, being the first time I use it, it smells absolutely horrible. So we got that all cleaned up there. I'm going to put the barrel to the side. And then the next thing I'm going to do is on the slide. Once again, I like putting some, you can see right down here, there's wear in there. I'm going to put just a little splash down there, rub it in with my finger. Get that down in there. And then I'm going to do the same thing I did when we were cleaning with the rails. I'm just going to give it a little shot here. Let that run down the rails. And then I'm going to do the same thing on this side. And this should be enough to keep this lubricated here. And that's really the only places I lubricate on these is the rails down on there. I like my barrel lubricated. And then I put the oil right here where you need to on that crucifix. So now what we're going to do is we're going to put this back together. The first thing I'm going to do is grab that barrel. We're going to put that back in. And of course, because I'm trying to look through a camera, it don't want to go in right. There we go. Grab our recoil spring and guide rod assembly. I always grab the end with my thumb like that, push forward and down, and that puts it where it needs to be. Then we're going to put it back on the rail here. Kind of hard for me looking through the camera doing that. But we're going to rack it a few times. Get that Ballistol and the rails moved around. Same way with up in here. You're going to see up in there. Whoops. Hit the camera there. Okay, sorry about that. I hit the camera. But you can see up in here there's going to be lubrication on that from where we put it. Rack it a few times and then we're going to function check. Trigger worked, reset. Now everything's working fine on it. Now what I'm going to do is I got a microfiber towel and I'm going to give it a quick wipe down, and that's all I do. So that's everything you need to know how to field strip your Glock and clean it here. Now for the Ballistol, let me go over this Ballistol real quick. Let me tell you my thoughts on this since it's the first time I'm using it. It works great. I love the cleaning action. It cleaned the barrel up real nice and clean. I've done a few cleaning videos now, and I haven't been too impressed on them cleaning out the barrels and stuff, because a lot of times I get buildup in there. Sometimes I shoot lead bullets that aren't coated, and you get a little bit of lead buildup in there, and I've had a lot of them not clean up that good. The Ballistol actually cleaned that up pretty good. It cleaned everything, all the carbon up, but then again, soap and water will clean the carbon up. So, you know, I'm not giving it big praise on that, because to me, I'm not impressed with any cleaner, because they should be able to do that. But it did clean the barrel up pretty good, and I was pretty impressed with that. The biggest con I have with this stuff is it stinks. I do not like the smell of it. So Ballistol, if you could somehow keep this formulation and make it smell better, that would be a lot better. But that's my impressions of the Ballistol. So once again, I'd like to thank Ballistol for sending this out to the channel. There is a bigger bottle of it up there. They sent me a bunch of these smaller cans and a bigger one. I will probably be using it for a while now. Like I said, I'm pretty impressed with it. It worked good. It just smells horrible. But thank you, Ballistol, for sending this out to the channel. So as always, don't forget to check the links out down below. Down there I have links to Axel Hearing Protection, Gators Eyewear, and a bunch of other companies I like dealing with. Some of them got discount codes to save you guys money. Others are affiliate accounts that do help out the channel. So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell. Leave a comment down below. We are One Nation Under God, and I'll see you all on the next one.